I didn't have any plan. I was just trying, to just flee the country.
It's a homecoming of sorts for Masha Dudnova.
3 years ago, I came here as an exchange student.
But she's not back at Lakeside High for a trip down memory lane. She's here because her home is under attack.
I woke up at 6 a.m. I heard some explosions and I heard people screaming in my dorm.
Originally from eastern Ukraine, Dudnova was studying in Kyiv when Russia invaded. She fled with her cousin, passing through Poland, Montenegro, Croatia, and then Turkey before finally making it stateside. But it was help from Arkansas that helped her get here.
My host dad, Robert, he just texted me like, if you can, just try to go back to Arkansas. We'll be happy to have you here.
Robert Mueller has been hosting exchange students since the 80s and keeps in touch with many of them, including Dudnova. When he knew it was happening in Ukraine, he immediately stepped in to help make sure she was safe.
Just in case, and remember, we'll help you any way we can if something happens.
That help came in the form of getting Dudnova a visa. Mueller says he never thought he'd be in this situation, but he'd do it all over again if he had to.
She's family. She's like a daughter.
Mueller isn't the only one who kept up with Dudnova. Louis Jolly is a world history teacher at Lakeside. When other students had heard that she was back in Arkansas, they asked if Dudnova could speak about what she'd experienced.
I just kind of walked up to her and said, boo, and she didn't flinch because she's been through what most adults couldn't handle.
It's something Jolly says most students wouldn't be able to get had it not been for Mueller helping her flee. And for Dudnova, this was important to share. While the start of Russia's invasion seems a world away, for her, it still feels like it was yesterday.
So I just feel like it's a different experience when somebody from there tells you about it. And for Ukrainians right now, it's just really important to increase the awareness so that the world knows what's going on.
Thursday morning, I woke up and on my phone were just dozens of messages, and at that moment I knew like something had happened.
Chris Lowe left Arkansas a few years back to do missionary work in Ukraine, now waking up to what he describes as a different world than when he arrived.
Hearing sirens going off.
As Russia invades Ukraine, Chris and his fiancé Vera, a native of the country, scrambled for a way out. Just weeks before, on Valentine's Day, he had proposed.
I called Vera and I said, we have to make a decision. We have to act. And so we decided that we needed to pack our bags and to head to the border.
They spoke to us safe from Poland after traveling for days to cross the border.
We got to the border and the line to get to the border was actually about 2 miles long.
But the journey to safety wasn't just a physical feat, but an emotional one. I was very scared, but I had to make a decision very quickly. I could not say goodbye to my family and friends. Since there was a state of war, we did not know whether I would be allowed to cross the border. This leaving Chris's mother, Cindy Cole, back home in Arkansas, clinging to the limited communication they have online.
Oh gosh, besides where are you safe?
We're staying with friends in the Czech Republic.
Really, when we communicate, I just tell him that I'm praying, and that's really all any of us can do at this point.
She was hoping her son would come back home, but Chris and Vera are wanting to help other Ukrainian refugees trying to escape get across the border.
You can stand in solidarity with Ukraine, and you can say, this is not acceptable.
If you have the ability to help anywhere, whether it's a tornado in Springdale or whether it's a war in Ukraine, the human aspect of it is where it's at. It's not, picking a side. It's not bleeding blue and yellow.
Robert French made the trip to Ukraine in July, spending 2 months there volunteering for the organization, the Mozart Group. He is a U.S. Marine veteran who has also been a government contractor spending time in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Israel.
It was pretty interesting. It's like half the country doesn't know they're at war. Life has to go on. You can't live in that perpetual state of catastrophe and chaos.
French and around 8 others from the Mozart Group were able to evacuate more than 160 people in the 60 days they were in Ukraine. Along with help from the Red Cross, they were able to take the civilians to the north or west where there wasn't fighting or over to Poland.
You have normal life like restaurants and living in hotels and AC and running water and all that, and then you go to the front and people People are living in bombed out shelters, making their own candles, no power, no running water.
French says it was awful to see schools, hospitals, and everything in between demolished because of Russian fire. The group's other mission was to provide humanitarian aid deliveries. He says the only food and water civilians received were from volunteers. He also helped train a unit of the Ukrainian army.
No matter what the politics are, no matter, what side of the fence or why Putin crossed the line, those families didn't request it and probably didn't do anything to deserve it, and they have no means to get out of the way. It's not like America where you have families spread out across the country and you could just get in your car and drive. Some of their cars have been destroyed, the roads have been destroyed.
This is Asiya Kocharova. She's one of the millions of Ukrainians living through history as the war in their country continues. Kocharova isn't fluent in English, but her son-in-law, Sergei Polikov, was by her side to help share her story. She says there's a lot of death around Ukraine and people are just waiting, a lot of suffering. And the war is very scary for everyone. Since the beginning of the crisis in her country, Kocharova and her family knew they needed to find a way to get her to safety. She describes that she took everything at once because the family called and told her to leave as soon as possible. The next 4 days would be crucial.
It's around 600 miles, but the war changed our situation.
After leaving Ukraine, Kocharova and some friends drove from Romania to Hungary, to Slovenia, and finally Poland. From Poland, she traveled to Mexico, and after quick aid from a U.S. immigration lawyer, she touched down in San Diego. Sergei drove 26 hours from the natural state to California to bring her to his wife and daughter.
They don't see her 8 years.
With the help of a local business and countless donations from the community, Kocharova and her family used that money to get her home.
The community, Hot Springs, Arkansas, and different states, customers, it's from me just, I told, they help us.
Sergei has big plans for the family restaurant now that she's here.
Maybe we open another location in Little Rock, who knows, because we have a helper right now,
I want to go back to Kiev every day because I want to help people and I feel guilt that I'm here and I want to do something, but
Gratitude after a long journey.
I love my aunt so much. I'm so happy that I'm here.
Natalia Polyakova says after the invasion, she had to travel from her home to Hungary, then Spain, before getting to the U.S.-Mexico border.
Natalia was one of the first members of the Ukrainian citizens to arrive to Mexico. Right now, there's over 10,000 Ukrainians living in camps outside of the San Ysidro port of entry.
Her aunt Genya File says they spoke with several immigration attorneys who told them to ask for asylum at the border, but the Title 42 policy holds up many asylum seekers.
In the border, they have to help you. They have to let you apply for asylum, but they can enter you.
The Biden administration has agreed to take on about 100,000 refugees from Ukraine.
Nathan Bogart is an Arkansas immigration attorney.
The government here in the U.S. has the authority to declare a number of temporary options to victims of active war zones.
The Biden administration unveiled a new sponsorship program to resettle Ukrainian refugees, discouraging them from traveling to Mexico, seeking entry.
Generally speaking, somebody needs either a family member or an employer to file a petition for them in order to get into the United States. And those processes can be pretty fraught with hurdles.
Polyakova is now making her way to Little Rock for a new start. After making a post about her journey, she and her aunt were touched by the number of Arcanians offering to help.
For every comment that people left, I cried.